was a mysterious ancient castle hidden deep within the mountains of the Czech Republic. Legend has it that this castle was built directly on top of a gateway into hell. Local folklore describes the portal as a bottomless pit which entities used as a physical entrance into our world. Join us as we investigate the legend of Hell's Gate at Hauska Castle.
Welcome to Castle Hauska. There is no reason for this structure to exist way out here in the middle of nowhere. This is the inner courtyard, gentlemen, where many horrific events have taken place. We unearthed 3 Nazi soldiers who were executed. We have a prominent writer who stayed here during the end of the 1800s and reported that he saw winged black creatures flying around this courtyard where we stand right now. What normally one would consider demonic and demons. What we're standing on right now used to be a hole going so far down that no one knew its depths. But villagers, they saw half human and half animal-like creatures. They believe that this is the gates of hell. When this structure began construction, they took all the prisoners from the local prison, they gave them a death party. If they would allow themselves to be lowered into the hole, they would be set free. First prisoner went down. After a few seconds, he began screaming bloody murder. He had white hair, wrinkles, looked like he had aged several decades in several minutes. He went to the insane asylum and died 2 days later of unknown causes.
Hauska Castle was an early Gothic structure built between the years 1253 and 1278, and folk legends surrounding the castle make for a chilling tale. The legends hold that Hauska Castle was built on top of an apparent bottomless pit, and the hole that locals contend led straight into hell. And what's worse, it didn't just lead to hell, but it also led hell into our world, as the villagers were terrified of half-human and winged creatures which would emerge and confine the villagers to their homes at night. Legend has it that during its construction, the pit was used as a form of justice in that the condemned were offered a reprieve if they agreed to be lowered into the abyss and report on its depth. As the legend goes, one unfortunate man was lowered down only to let loose a series of agonized screams. He was pulled out. He had aged 30 years instantly. He had gone in a young man, and when he came out, he was withered, old, and grey, and not to mention raving mad. This castle sat undisturbed for nearly 700 years, until the 1940s when the Nazis came and took over the castle. Today's visitors can tour the castle, which housed Nazis and legendary demons. Some visitors have reported hearing a chorus of screams emanating from the chapel floor that was built over the hole, as well as clawing and scraping noises. The Bible makes it clear that portals like this not only exist, but have been used throughout history as a way for the unseen entities to gain access into our world and manipulate mankind. Ephesians 6:12, quote, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." Now, let's take a look at the legend that surrounds Hauska Castle. If you go to the website atlasobscura.com, they have a nice article written out about this castle. Quote, "In the second half of the 13th century, a mysterious Gothic castle was built. It wasn't near any water, it wasn't strategically important, and it didn't seem to have anyone living in it. According to local legend, it was meant to trap demons. Supposedly, a gate to hell opened on the craggy Czech mountain. The castle was constructed around the portal, and a chapel was plopped directly on top of the hole to keep evil monsters from spilling out of the underworld and slipping into the human realm. Folklore says the supposed gate to hell was so deep no one could see the bottom of it, and those who did attempt to enter the dark orifice encountered demonic human-animal hybrids. People claim cars won't start near the castle, and strange, bleeding beasts still roam the area after dark. The article goes on to say, Nazis occupied the fortress during World War II, and multiple myths abound about their supposed occult involvement there. If this truly is built on top of some sort of portal into another world, it makes total sense why the Nazis would occupy it. We all know about the Nazis' heavy involvement in occult practices. The Vril Society is just one example of that. It's a documented fact that the Nazis were heavily into black magic rituals and human sacrifice. Now let's go check out another website called tracebohemies.com. They have an article entitled The Frightening Legend of Hauska Castle. Let's read this together. Hauska Castle is a Czech clifftop castle shrouded in dark myths and legends. It was originally constructed in the 13th century between 1253 and 1278 AD during the reign of Ottokar II of Bohemia. The castle, which was built in the early Gothic style, is located about an hour north of Prague, on top of a steep, rocky cliff in the Czech countryside. It is thought to be one of the most haunted locations in the world. At first glance, the castle seems quite ordinary, but upon closer inspection, one notices a few strange features. Firstly, many of the castle's windows are actually fake. If you look closely, you'll see that most of the windows are merely facades, glass panes behind which sturdy walls are built. Secondly, the castle has no fortifications, no water source, no kitchen, and for years after it was constructed, there were no occupants. This makes it clear that Hauska Castle was not built as a prospective sanctuary or a residence. The location of the castle is also peculiar. It is situated on a remote area surrounded by thick forests, swamps, and sandstone mountains. The location has no strategic value and is not situated near any trading routes. Many people have wondered why Hauska Castle was built in such a strange location. Ancient legends may be able to answer that question. According to folklore, Hauska Castle was constructed over a large hole in the ground, which was known as the gateway to hell. It is fabled that the hole was so deep that no one could see the bottom of it. Legend has it that half-animal, half-human creatures used to crawl out of the pit at night, and that black-winged creatures used to attack locals and drag them down into the hole. It was believed that the castle was built to keep the evil in. The location of the castle was specifically chosen in order to cover up this mysterious pit from which the demonic creatures emerged at night. The castle chapel was specifically built over the bottomless pit in order to seal the evil in and keep demonic creatures from entering our world. But even today, over 700 years after the pit was sealed, visitors still claim to hear the scratching of creatures from the lower floors at night, trying to claw their way up to the surface. Others claim to hear a chorus of screams coming from beneath the heavy floor. When the construction of the castle began, it is said that all the village's prisoners who had been sentenced to death were offered pardons if they agreed to be lowered by rope into the bottomless pit and then to report back what they saw. The first man was tied up and lowered into the hole, and a few seconds after he had disappeared into the darkness, he began screaming in horror and begged to be pulled back up. When the prisoner, who was a young man, was pulled back up to the surface, he looked like he had aged 30 years in the few seconds he was in the pit. His hair had turned white, and he had grown extremely wrinkled. He was still screaming when they pulled him up to the surface. He had been so disturbed by what he experienced in the darkness that he was sent to an insane asylum, where he died 2 days later from unknown causes. According to the legend, the scratching of the winged creatures trying to claw their way to the surface can still be heard. Phantoms have been seen walking the empty halls of the castle, and Nazis specifically chose Hauska Castle in order to harness the power of hell for themselves. Multiple paranormal television shows have visited Hauska Castle and concluded that it is, in fact, haunted. Now, the most important thing to remember about all this is that Jesus Christ already defeated.
Yeah, you fucking lie. Always want to lie. We already defeated these entities. We defeated them in the heavens. Okay? The 144. Now, seems like it was around two, and all. Every time we turn around, they always trying to make a comeback to fight us. The gargoyle, the demons, the imps, all those things, the devil. They try to make a comeback to try to fight for planet Earth. That's why we gotta protect Earth and fight for planet Earth and get rid of all the little minions they have on the Earth to give the rightful ownership back to the people of the Creator. And yes, 144,000, you are people of the Creator. You're the army. You're simply the army. So, anyways, I'm gonna simplify it. I'm not gonna go into it deep. All the understands you understand. So I'm gonna keep it simple. You are the army. You have it. Your abilities will be given back to you. You fought before. Creator loves you because you are the ones that fought. You are the only ones that stood up to fight the devil in the heavens, which is a heaven on the earth. It was at one point anyway. So, with that said, we do not believe in Mr. J or the devil, but this does show you how Mr. J, the devils, the minions, all the creepity weepies, and all this evil, damn, that shit look like demon spirits. I just realized that. Y'all seen that? He put the cross up, which is a demonic, and these look like demon spirits. I just realized that. But anyways, we don't serve no devils. We serve the Creator only, who's a spirit, not man or woman, does not live in any type of body or fleshy body or any type of body at all, because the Creator is a spirit. The only good thing that we got lucky about, which I want to say luck, the Creator did it on purpose, is that the Creator lives in us, and we have the 97% of creative DNA as if He was gone to be on the earth, which of course we know the Creator is not on the earth, the Creator is a spirit. So, peace and love to everybody. All praise to our Creator, nobody else. Hopefully you'll have a good day. And now you see how the devils were coming from the bottomless pit that was open. So that's how they escaped. They escaped from the bottomless pit, hell, because they had it opening. So somebody broke open the jail, and somebody sealed up the jail again. And I'm pretty sure Mr. J, the Nephilim giant down in Jordan that they're listening to, all of them are going out and visiting that piece of shit. He's like 10 foot tall, something. Some call him Gilgamesh, some call him Nimrod. It's the same Mr. J, BS, dickhead, dumb, devil worshipping, piece of shit character who wants to claim something that he ain't when he's a piece of shit, and that's all to it. Plain and simple. Okay? And his dumb ass is gonna open up. This, I can see how it won't be hard for him to do it. The boys in the pyramids are going to be hard because they are mad deep, but they already figured out the way to get inside that room. So I'm pretty sure when things are going on, they got them all. And the other thing is this. That bottomless pit hole, that ain't going to be hard to freaking open. Shit. And once he figure out where it's at, if they haven't already figured out where it's at. Because if he did, you can guarantee that building's been knocked down, the hole's been dug up, unsealed, and shit's about to hit the fan soon. And now we talking about it. Halloween's coming up, just so you know. And United States and the other armies have been going at it off and on. There's been some reports. It ain't been on the news, but I didn't report it actually. There's been some reports. But I would start paying attention. You go to YouTube and you click in war news, you're going to find out a whole lot of stuff's been going on they ain't telling about. It is minor, small stuff, but it's still stuff's going to lead up to the big one. And they know it. They don't want you to know it. All right. Gotta go.